Well, good evening and welcome to Super League Raw Weekly. And yes, your eyes do not deceive you. The most handsome man in Huddersfield is back. Joel Scholes is with us. Good evening, Joel, from wherever you are.
Good evening, yeah. Not so much Huddersfield right now, but we're international, going international.
Where are you, mate?
Over in Dalian in Turkey.
Can't be bad. International Super League Raw this evening, and we've already had a wind-up Dawn. Before you start, Miss Baker, we've already told him his Wi-Fi is better in Turkey. He needs to stay there. Steph and Reggie, of course, also with us this evening. Great to have you coming. Already with us. Craig Forth, Super League Raw member. Kev Wall, Super League Raw member. John Wilkinson's with us. Phil Webster's with us. Oh, they're all coming in. It's great to have your company. Right, let's kick straight off. Plenty, as always, to go through this evening. We're going to start with a little bit of Paddy McGuinness, likey or no likey. We'll start with you, Greg. Robinson to remain Huddersfield coach till the end of the season. Do you like it or not?
To be honest, I quite like it. To be honest, give him a chance.
You agree, Steph?
Yeah, I think they've nothing to lose now. I think the playoffs are a long shot now for Huddersfield, so why not give him a go and see how he does? They played really well against us, so why not? They
did, and let's get Joel's take. Would you keep Mr. Robinson in position, Joel?
Absolutely, yeah. I'd be a bit upset, if that's the word, if they got rid of him in that position. I mean, before the end of the season. I'm not going to say yet who I think should take the position, but he's certainly in my top two picks of anybody right now.
Oh, you do tease, sir.
Who's your other, Joel? Who's your other?
I'm going to go with Demetriou for the moment.
Demetriou from Oz, former South Sydney Rabbit Hose coach there. And Joel, because you've not been with us for a few weeks, go on then, mate. Was it time for Watson to go?
Yeah. And I still stand with what I've said. Watto's are not a bad coach. He's not a bad coach at all. He's a very good coach, in fact. I think he's just... My take on it is he is far too advanced of a coach, let's call it, where he wants certain things to happen in certain parts of the field at a certain time. And if it doesn't happen, it's not part of his process. So the lads that we have just could not accommodate that style. And that will work for some clubs. It just doesn't work for us. And it was time for him to go.
And as the great philosopher James Bond once actually was Mr. Draco in On Her Majesty's Secret Service, he also plays a good game of chess. Good evening to Lee Partington, Matthew Sale, of course, Joe Del Green, Ian Judson. Ian Judson, the most optimistic man in Hull, asking Simon Griggs in the press conference, did he still have his sights on playoff rugby league? Ian, what a gem. That one should be framed, sir. Good lad. Great stuff. Great to have your company this evening. Right, we'll go back round. Toby King's wild card. I mean, Greg, like or not like, are you aware of this?
I'm very aware of it. Not likey.
Fair enough. Steph?
What was the question?
Well, basically, Toby King said on the bench that there should be a wild card. You can play your wild card just before a game and it's worth double points. Like or not like?
Definitely not like.
Hey, Joel?
I thought when I first read it, I thought it had some weight to it, but then now more I've thought about it, it only works for the teams that are winning week in, week out, really.
Yeah.
They can pick when they want to.
Playing the wild card against London.
Yeah. It just spreads the table too far for me.
Fair play. Oh, wait up. Here we go. Callum Rundle, I watch every week. My brother's Logan Moy. Just want to say you've said some lovely stuff. Bring him on. Get Logan watching. Good to be good to have a chat with Logan. If he wants to be in conversation, guest, he's more than welcome get in touch with me, and I'd be delighted to do an hour with him where we get to know Logan a little bit better. Wishing well from all of us for the rest of the season. Right, Mr. Nixon, back to you. Lewis Dodd, drop for Wigan, like or not like?
That's a difficult one. He's not. I think Saints fans will be the first to admit he's not quite lived up to his billing this season. I know, that's what I was laughing at, just.
For those who are listening on a podcast, Alex Sharp, Team Talk member, says, good to see Wreck-It Ralph back on my screen, of course, referring to Mr. Scholes. Carry on, Greg.
I don't know. I suppose it didn't do them any good, so no likey. Simply because it didn't work for them, did it?
Fair enough. Steph?
No, I liked it. I think it was courageous by Wellens and good to see, even though you've got someone who's going to the NRL, that he's still, got to perform at his very best. Otherwise, he's not going to get his place. But I think the young lad who played fullback and moving Wellesby worked, and I think that could be a problem solved for Saints.
He's a good player. That fullback.
Mr. Robertson, he had a belter, didn't he? He had an absolute belter. Joel, like or no like, Lewis Dodd dropped for the Wigan game?
It's a tough one. I'm not really sure. I'll say, yeah, it's okay. It's like, because the thing is, when someone's going to NRL, you think to yourself, do you want to play him much more for the rest of the season, or do you not? I wouldn't personally, but that's me.
Fair enough. Andy Bibby in the chat saying I'm in. Let us know what you're into, my friend. Don't just leave us hanging like that. Right, let's carry on. Brad Arthur to Leeds. Like or not like till the end of the season, Greg?
Likey.
Yeah.
If it benefits them, likey.
Fair play. Steph?
Yeah, very, very good coach, and I like it. It's like maybe a try before you buy situation. Whether that's on his side or Leeds side, I don't know, but I think it's a good appointment. Let's see what happens.
Still agree. Over Paul Rowley at the end of the season. Joel, back to you, mate, on that one. Brad Arthur, like
Yeah, very much like it, because he's one of them no-nonsense coaches. He's going to say it as he sees it, and I think he's probably the man to get them back to where they need to be, at least for this season.
Paul Boardman's had a great day. He's just got back a bit late. His lad has got a first honours for his degree. Very congratulations to the lad. Hopefully he's intelligent enough to watch Super League Raw every Tuesday. Let's go there. And then finally, Greg, Great Britain to return 2025. Like or not like?
Likey.
Yeah, there's
as I've been talking about this, I think, since we've been doing this podcast, and have 4 nations to decide which players are going to play for Great Britain. It's what they do. It's what our state of origin was devised. So let's have an England, Scotland, Wales, Ireland competition, and let players play it out, battle it out for that Great Britain shirt. Is what I say.
Fantastic. Steph, liking this one?
Love it. Some of my best memories were going down to Wembley, watching the first test against the Aussies in Great Britain. I've never been a big fan of it. England, Wales, Scotland. So yeah, I'm really happy.
Fair play. And Joel?
Yeah, I very much like it, but I think that's because we're all of the generation of that. We're used to watching Great Britain. It's going to be a generational thing. Some aren't going to like it because that's all they've known is England, Wales, Scotland, and Ireland. But yeah, for us that have seen it as Great Britain for a long time, I welcome it back with open arms for sure.
Looking forward to seeing the shirt design. I'm going to have to go there. Ian's the gift that keeps giving. The man who loved a bit of Jake Connor on the Final Whistle podcast. That's it. Jake who is who C saying tonight. Logan Moy is the second coming in the eyes of Ian this evening. And he's also saying that he's going to take the shirt off Mr. Wellesby's back. Oh, talk about put pressure on the young man. There's no doubt, though, he's doing well. Ian, keep it coming. Great stuff. Outstanding on a Tuesday night. Right. Okay, let's go on. Keep it rolling. 2025 comes early. Moves are plenty. Let's start with Bill Leyland. I'm delighted for this kid. Not played in Super League. ACL out for the season. We were speaking on the Final Whistle, Steph and I. So, Greg, I'm going to come to you first on this. Leyland's not played in Super League. You know, we were saying Meadows. Obviously, Ollie Leyland looks like he could get a contract. Josh Rourke has been tearing it up the last couple of weeks. I think Jake Bassett's been playing well for London. Potential there. Possibly Story as well, maybe. Alex Walker.
Story's had a good couple of games last few weeks.
But Bill Leyland's not played a game. I mean, and he's been snapped up by KR. This probably, it's a two-barrel question. One, I'm delighted for Bill Leyland. I'm sure you are. I'll get your comments on that. But also, this pretty much for me, rubber stamps that Matt Parcelli is going to be retiring at the end of this season. So let's pay tribute to Mr. Parcell. And how pleased are you for Bill Leyland?
Delighted for him. Absolutely delighted for him. I think before the season started, I think we outlined, and before he got injured, we said he could have been one of the stars of the competition. So I'm absolutely delighted he's going to get a chance to play in Super League. It's a shame for London, but I think what might happen I mean, we've got a transfer deadline of August the 2nd, is it?
Correct, sir.
I think what might happen is a few more of those London players might be finding themselves with contracts with established Super League clubs over the next few weeks, which is a shame for them as a club. But
Sorry,
great players.
Yeah, it's hooker, mate. Callum Carr was just asking what position Bill Leyland plays. It's hooker, yeah. So this is why I'm saying it's probably a direct replacement for Parcells. Sorry, Greg.
Yeah. Parcells been a great servant. He's a good. He's a brilliant. I like Matt Parcell. I've got a lot of time for him. Will he retire or maybe move on to another club? I don't know. But it would seem that his days at Hull KR might come to an end this season.
Yeah, I mean, we've been doing this now for 4 years, and we've always put a lot of praise on Matty Parcell, a real classy player, and he showed that in the Hull derby at the weekend.
He did, yeah.
Joel, obviously, you weren't on the final whistle. Your thoughts on Bill Leyland and Matt Parcell?
Yeah, I think what it initially does is it made me think of when I saw the news this morning. Actually, it said what I thought was great was it was more good on Mike Eccles, because he's put these lads in a position where they're fighting week in, week out. They're not giving up. And what they've done is they've been able to show what they're good at doing. I know he's not played, but this is the positive of London coming up. There's some players that are going to get snapped up at the end of the season for different clubs. So obviously for Leyland, this is great. I don't reckon they might keep Matty on for another year and help bring him on a little bit, and just kind of have him as a very experienced player, just for him to bounce off a little bit until he finds his feet, and then the next year they might retire. But certainly that looks like he's going to be a number 9 for them for sure.
Yeah, I mean, to put a player of that quality on to the coaching staff wouldn't be a bad move, would it, from Willie Peters? Steph, before I come to you, Phil Webster is saying that Brad Thrash may supply the nuts. What I do know is contract negotiations to be sponsored by KP next year are going very, very well indeed. Steph, to you, Bill Leyland and Matt Parcell.
Yeah, I think, I mean, Hull KR are doing some signing, aren't they, at the moment? And good to see them getting the youth as well. It's really positive. I think Litton's ripped it up at Hull KR this year, and he's got talking about Parcell, I think he can learn a lot from Litton as well. So it'd be interesting to see what happens there. But whether, because he's Aussie into Parcell, he's a quota player. So
I don't know how many years he's been over here now.
Yeah. I don't know, but anyway, it's one of those. Even if he goes to the coaching staff, or if he takes a move down to the Championship, we all wish him the best if that is what happens, because he's been a standout, a proper standout player in Super League, hasn't
he?
Yeah. Ian in the chat thanking the Leigh Leopards for Ed Chamberlain. Of course, Cam Scott, Carlos Tomavari out injured. They desperately need a centre. Let's go to Chamberlain and stay with you, Steph. I don't think this will concern you too much, albeit Charlie might be back this week. I think that this probably means that Charlie's injury isn't as bad as first thought. I don't think Chamberlain will be going anywhere if you still had. I think Holmes is back as well next week, not this week. So with players coming back, are you comfortable with Chamberlain moving on?
Yeah, I think, look at McIntosh, came in at the weekend and had a really solid game, didn't he? And so thank Ian for him. I think that's a fair trade, and it worked in our favour, that one, if you swap those two. But no, Ed's been a great player for Leigh. He's been one of those good squad players what you need when you have got the injuries. And, those close games when we did have lots of injuries, he played a big part in some of those matches. So he's not a bad player by any means. But obviously with him going to Hull at the end of the season, I think it kind of makes sense for him to go now when our squad's getting a bit healthier.
Yeah, fair play. No issues there. Right. And I have to say, welcome, of course, to Dawn. Dawn Baker's in the chat. I've also seen Dawn Kirkby in the chat as well. And perhaps, no disrespect to anybody else's name, but Jacqueline Phoenix, what a name. Outstanding name. Congratulating Paul's son on his first-class honours. Outstanding. Right, let's move to Luke Yates. Luke Yates has been acquired by Warrington for a fee from now till the end of the season. And Joel, I'm going to start with you. I think it says a lot about how he's represented your club that I have not seen one Giants fan come out and disrespect him or say anything derogatory with regards to him. And that, for me, is the test of the character of the man and the shift he's put in for the Claret and Gold.
I guess I've been the only one that kind of put a bit of a down on that positivity a little bit. in the sense of he's our captain, and when we need players the most, would you leave? To me, it's a bit of a left-handed move, but look, I don't blame him if it's going for the money, and that I get that, and very grateful for everything he's done for the club. However, when we are so low on players and we're not even going to be able to put out a 21-man squad unless we bring academy players in, if that's your captain, that isn't good.
No.
So when the chips are down and your captain is doing that, I don't like it. But that doesn't take away from what he's done.
No, and what I would say there, mate, is I think that this is just a clear indication that, you know, as far as Huddersfield are concerned, now it's all about 2025. You know, you're out the playoffs. Yeah. Playoffs have gone last weekend. I said, you know, Steph agreed with me on Final Whistle and Weekly last week. That for me was a do or die game for both clubs. Huddersfield came out on the wrong side of it. What I would say,
I don't think so.
Wilson, just very quickly, Darren, we always talk new players for the new season at the beginning of the next season. So we will do a full analysis of all the ins and outs, normally about 3 weeks before the start of the new season. And believe you me, Mr. Hargreaves will feature very heavily in that. So keep watching Super League Raw is what I'd say. Now, Greg, you must be on the other side of this. You must be delighted. Yates is coming to the Warrington Wolves, the top tackler in Super League since 2019. Nobody has tackled more in Super League than Luke Yates from 2019 to the present day. He's a tackling machine. This year, he's second only to Cameron Smith with 593. Last year, he was first with 1,027, and it goes on and on and on. And not just that, he averages 93 metres a game. This, for me, a really, really good signing at a key part of the season for the Warrington Wolves.
I think you've said everything I was going to say, Dave. A key signing coming in now. I was delighted he'd signed for next season, to be honest. And I can understand fully how Joel feels about this. You know, about your skipper, as Joel puts it, jumping ship. I think it may well have a lot to do with Watson going, if I'm being honest. I'm surprised that Huddersfield sanctioned it, given the kind of the injuries they've got and the state they're in at this moment in time. But yeah, I mean, as I say, I was delighted with signing for next season. If he can do a job for us this season, then I'm absolutely delighted. Absolutely delighted. He's just one of those players that I think never gets the plaudits he deserves. Because
we have over the years.
We have, but not from other media. He doesn't get he gets the odd player of the match, but he's not shouted about like other players are, and he should be. I think he's an absolutely superb player. Absolutely superb player.
Well, Wayne Stacey's saying he's a beast, and also in the chat as well. Hang on a second, what's going on there? Steve Barton is saying he's happy. Yates is a wire now. What a player! Steph, your final thoughts on this? Good business for Warrington, Yatesy?
Yeah, it's a tremendous bit of business. He's probably, you know, I think we're blessed with some fantastic 13s in this comp, and he's definitely up there with the best. So it's a big loss for Huddersfield. It's always tough losing your skipper, as we've found out with ACR to go into Hull FC, you know, as a 13 as well, ironically. But yeah, to lose in mid-season when you're down on numbers anyway is tough to take. But from a Warrington perspective, what a player you're getting, and right in the mould of Sam Burgess for me as well. He's his type of player, and yeah. I'm no doubt his fingerprints were all over this rather than Kirkpatrick.
Well, what I would say is if Luke Yates is a Sam Burgess kind of player, you've got to feel for Joe Bullock. He's not really been given a chance under Burgess. He's been jettisoned today to the Salford Red Devils. Spoke to Paul Rowley a little bit earlier on. He's delighted. My words on this one, he's going to add. There's no doubt he's going to add a lot to Salford. He is a really, really good, solid signing for me. He averages 73 metres a game. You compare that to the Singleton, who's 50, the King Running Yawa, 46. And this season, Bullock has gone over 100 metres on 4 occasions. Not a single Salford Red Devil prop forward has had that distinction this season. So there's no doubt about it. It's going to give a little bit of punching power to Salford. Again, a critical time of the season. They're still in the top 6. Leeds are breathing down the neck. reinforcements in the front row. Like Leeds, for me, they've not got the biggest of packs, Salford. I think this is a great bit of business, Greg, and we wish Joe well, because for me, whenever he's played for Warrington, and even when he went to Hull FC earlier this season, Joe packs a punch, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think he does. I think he's one of those players that he has to be in the mood for it, and I think that's what Sam Burgess doesn't like. When he's in the mood, he's an absolutely outstanding prop forward. He's had some critics this season and last season, but like you say, when he's on form, when Joe Bullock's head's in the game, he has the potential to be one of the best props in Super League. So good luck to him. I hope he does really, really well at Salford. It's only loan. It's only on loan. He's got a chance to prove himself and maybe to come back as a wire next season, invigorated to kind of do well. Because I can't remember what grand final it was. I think it was did they play the grand final before he signed for us, Wigan, and he was the best forward on the park in that game. And I think I'm right in saying that. And when he came to Warrington, I was delighted. But yeah, good luck to him.
Yeah, Steve Barton, completely and utterly agree. No, there's a right set to going off in the chat reference where Asiata's going to play for Hull FC. Ian thinks he's going to be prop. I'll tell you what, marquee money for a prop forward, Ian. Fair play to you, mate. Alex Sharp having none of that at all. I don't think Callum is either. But hey, Ian might know something on the inside. We know he's close to the Hull FC team. Anyway, there you jolly well go. So we've been around it. In the interest of time, gentlemen, we're going to move on. Some Super League Raw news, of course, and a massive thank you from me, Steph, all of the team, Greg, of course, Mr. Nixon. The final whistle podcast, of course, went out on Monday morning. Yesterday, the 15th of July, the most downloads of the Super League Raw podcast ever. Over 300 people in one day downloaded the Super League Raw podcast. Thank you very much indeed for your support. Get the candles out, blow them out, get the cakes going. Brilliant stuff. Keep downloading all the Super League Raw podcasts. Nothing better. Your commute to work gets better at least twice a week, so make sure you're doing that. And don't forget, tomorrow night, if you've not got your tickets, why haven't you got your tickets? If you're a member, you've already got them. They've come through the Patreon site. They're in your email. Dawn Kirkby, you need to be logging on at 7:15, my friend. I won't be doing a delayed start this time. Everybody, please get on early, log in, get onto the Zoom, and then you can go off, do whatever, and then come back on at 10 to 8 for the start of that quiz. Go over to Eventbrite, and the first prize, ladies and gentlemen, the first prize for non-members is 2 tickets for Magic. Of course, it's also the prize for members, but if you're a non-member, you can come along for £5 tomorrow night, and the first prize is 2 tickets to Magic Saturday. Magic Saturday. London taking on Hull FC, Wigan Saints Mark III, and Leeds taking on The Wire. You want to be a part of that. It's a great quiz as well. It's going to be great fun. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Get your tickets right after the show. The description on Facebook and on YouTube. It's in the description, and I've also put it in the chat as well, the link. So all you've got to do is click, go and get them tickets, come and join us. And like I say, if you are a member, you should already have them. If you've not got them, you need to be dropping me a line, but you should, and I'll make sure that you get the link well in advance of the quiz. Gentlemen, it's going to be a belter, isn't it?
Absolutely. I'm going to be hopefully joining live from Furford Air Show in Gloucestershire tomorrow. So.
Truly, hey, we're going all around the country and abroad. It's absolutely.
I should be joining live from Warrington.
Live from Warrington, absolutely. Craig Forth saying Wigan Saints the decider. Exactly. That's, you hear me say this all the time in terms of, in the sheds and this, that, putting a bit of theatre into it. It's 1-1 in the trilogy. We don't know if they're going to meet again in the playoffs. Let's give it a bit of spice. Who's going to get bragging rights for 2024? Massive game at Ellen Road at Magic. Can't wait for that one. I don't mind telling you. And yes, I am having a bit of red wine, and I'm very giddy. Anyway, I'm moving swiftly on. Should we take a look at the top performers from round number 17, gentlemen?
I think we must.
Here are your top performers from round number 17 of the Betfred Super League. The top try scorers, each with 2, were Alex Mellor and Inisini of the Castleford Tigers, Matt Duffy of the Warrington Wolves, and Artur Romano of the Catalan Dragons. The most try assists came from Castleford's Jacob Miller with 4, whilst the top meter maker once again was Matt Duffy with 199 for the Warrington Wolves. The top tackle buster was once more Duffy with 12, whilst the most clean breaks came from Alex Mellor, Innes Senior, Zach Eckersley, Liam Marshall, Wonga Blake and Ryan Hall, each with 2. The most offloads came from Leigh Sow of Hull FC with 6, whilst the top hard meter maker was Kai O'Donnell of the Leigh Leopards with 143. The top tackler in Super League for round 17 was George Delaney of St Helens with 52, whilst the top goal kickers were Rowan Mills and Stephen Ratchford, each with 5. These are your top performers from round 17 in the Betfred Super League.
High praise indeed from Mr. Calver. Nobody sells the game like Dave. Give Sky a ring. Let him know. Anyway, let's carry on. Round 17 results.
Don't forget your mates, Dave.
Don't forget your mates, absolutely. And, Murphy Murph. There you go. So impressive from Delaney. Yeah, I must admit, good tackling. I've still got concerns at this moment in time in terms of his potency as a prop forward. But yes, he's got time on his side. And yes, they were very good tackling stats indeed. The Wolves, of course, beat the Rhinos in the opening game, 30 points to 18. I have to say, for me personally, a result that maybe flattered the Rhinos. Alex is about to throw some grenades. The Warriors 16, Saints 12. The Broncos 20, Tigers 34. Leopards came through just about 20 points to 16 over the Giants. Hull FC 10, the Robins 24. That was an entertaining game as well. Good on Hull FC in the second half. Keep it down, Joe. Keep it down. What he's doing? What's he doing? Let's just turn him off. We'll bring him back in a moment. He's having a bit of sport over there.
He's ordering a kebab, Dave. I think
he's doing something. He's trying to open a can, but doing it on the table and getting it all wrong. The Dragons 20, the Red Devils 0. The final result of the weekend. Right, okay. Let's just have a quick how's your father. For me, an interesting round of fixtures. We thought it was going to be, with the exception of the Catalan game, no real blowouts as such in it. Some really nice tries as well. Let's just talk very, very briefly. We had a little nod to him a little bit earlier on. We talked about, Steph mentioned number 13s, number 1s. Ian's been in the chat, reference Moy. Young Robertson at Saints. What a debut from him on the biggest stage. Eckersley showing his versatility, had an absolute stormer. We know there's other players in the melting pot that can play one at other clubs as well. Greg, how impressed were you with that 17-year-old Mr. Robertson?
Oh, mate, incredible. Absolutely incredible. Another one off the production line. Yeah, you would have thought that he'd been playing for a few years. He was confident. He had a great break, an absolutely fantastic break. Yeah, really impressed with him. And that production line keeps on churning out players who are going to be Super League stars for a long time to come. Yeah,
and Joel Eckersley at Wigan. Played numerous positions now, played, of course, centre in the Challenge Cup, going to try. If Bevan French is to be believed, he had 10 minutes preparation at fullback and he goes and produces a man of the match display. I mean, that kid has got, the future at his feet, hasn't he?
Yeah, when you're looking at players like that, you kind of think they're going to hopefully have the impact that someone like Nsemba's having. That people are looking at around the world in the NRL thinking, man, he's got some talent. But when you've got lads who can play in different positions like that, it's only going to bode well for you, isn't it?
There you go, Wayne. I put them back.
What's happened?
Greg stopped seats with Steph. There you go. No drama. Sorry for interfering with your karma there, Wayne.
Back
to where you were.
Don't do that to a man of my vintage, Dave. I can't take it.
Outstanding stuff. But no, that was like I say, really, really good indeed. And I also just want to pay tribute to, for me, we love a kick. We love a grubber kick. And can I say, two fine examples on display in France. The one from Fahad Yahar was beautiful, absolutely stunning. And then, says Aru, says holds me beer. Here comes another one. Beautiful, absolutely stunning. Those two little grubber kicks. We're big advocates of those, aren't we, Steph? We like a bit of that.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's probably one of the most underlooked parts of the game. I think like Josh Drinkwater was a master of it when he was at Leigh and at Catalan as well. Maybe not so much at Warrington, but the amount of repeat sets we used to get, and it's a critical part of the game because when you're on a fifth tackle, if you can force a goal line dropout, it's huge. So, and also the chance to score a try as well. So if you got a player who can put it in the end goal like that, then happy days.
Yeah, absolutely stunning. Try of the week. Have we got a try of the week? I think there was plenty to go at for me. Where would you put it if you were going to go a try of the week? Where would you put it, Joel?
So it's hard for me to say because I've not seen all the games this week because I've only got to see them live as they're playing, so I've missed some. I'd like to say that I think I'm going to go, which I rarely do, one of my own. I thought, considering the circumstances and the way that it's been handled recently, I think Jake kind of took a lovely try. He showed glimpses of what he is known to play like, and it was nice to see. And you could just see how much, with his celebration after, how much it meant to him. So I'm going to be a bit biased tonight and just say for me, it'll be Jake's try.
Apologising to Mark Smith, you're quite right. Ryan Hall's also put a little kip through for Minchella's critical try at the end of that KR game. That was a nice one, wasn't it? Greg, where are you going with your try of the week?
God, come back to me on that one, Dave. That's a really good question. I like the Saints one with the young fullback cutting through. That was a good try.
Yeah.
I think if you put me on the spot, I'd say that was, for a young kid, he showed a lot of composure in a game of that magnitude. I think I'd go with that one.
Fair play, Steph.
Really.
I'm going to answer a bit differently, if that's okay. I was absolutely filthy. Reggie will back me up on this one. The Darnell McIntosh no try for Leigh.
Yeah,
it was what a fantastic try that was, and it was disgraceful that went up as a no try, and that was the only reason that was overturned. There was no evidence whatsoever that he lost that ball, and I was spewing that that wasn't given because it was a fantastic effort from him.
Yeah, I agree 100% with you, Steph. 100%.
This is where, for me, I know it's one we debate all the time. They've got to get rid of this try no try, and it's got to go to a bunker review. Everyone that has got, unless it's a clear no try, it's got to go to just award the try as they're lining up to do the kick. Let the bunker review it. We've got the technology now, and then if there's a reason to overturn it, then let's have a more of a look at it.
Yeah.
That it was a try all day. I've not seen anybody yet that will convince me that wasn't. I know that's with me Leigh bias goggles on, but what a shame for him as well as a player to score a try like that as we all celebrate the wingers doing that, to have that robbed off him.
Yeah, I agree 100%, mate. Really do.
The only thing that separates you and Greg where bias is concerned is colours, sir. His colours is what I would say. Steve Barton, obviously a Warrington fan. Duffy, good try. Tex Hoy, got to give Tex, don't get me wrong, it was very lazy defending. We must say that. I mean, it was Bierneck, he played the ball very, very poor there, but Tex took his try well. Going back to Eckersley, his long-range try was good. Made Lomax miss a tackle, but his second try, not many people sell a dummy to Mark Percival, and he did that very, very well indeed. Some beautiful tries. If you haven't seen the tries, then we've already picked out the best ones for you. Go over to our YouTube page at your leisure and check out tries of the week for round 17. And if you want to recap on the rest of the great tries that we've had over the full 17 rounds, why not treat yourself? Watch them all. I do. Why not? Nothing like that with a nice cup of tea or a cup of coffee or whatever you fancy. Anyway, moving swiftly on because we've still got lots to do. Let's have a laugh at the Albert Goldthorpe. We always do this. Let's just quickly dip in to the Goldthorpe.
Why do you always do that when I'm taking a drink, Dave? I
always like to go into the goal. And I'm going to start at Perpignan because they're at it again. I mean, I'm not being funny. There's presidents and prime ministers that haven't got as much donations as Theo Fage this year. 3 points for Theo Fage in the Catalan Dragons game. I mean, come on. Please help me. Did anybody think that Fage had a better game than Rouget?
No.
Do you think that Rouget picked up any points?
No.
One?
No, not one. It's just like, what planet? Incredible stuff. Greg, you were saying that Yates is overlooked. They gave Yates 3 points in defeat, which, you know what? Not got an awful lot of game. I thought Yates had a really good, solid defensive game.
Strong defensive play.
They gave one to Hardacre. 2 for Lamb in that game. Your thoughts on that, Steph and Joel?
Probably best I say nothing on that one.
I'd be tempted to give Lamb 3, to be honest.
In my opinion, Lamb should have got the 3.
Yeah.
He had a worldly game. It was crazy.
A worldy game.
He deserved it just for that offload to O'Donnell.
Yeah. I think to be fair, they didn't get an awful lot wrong other than the Farge one for me. That was an absolute shocker. Don't know where they were coming from there. Good to see that they noticed Will Lavelle's performance. Thought Lavelle had a really good game. He picked up 2 points for London Broncos. Other noticeable in there as well. Danny Walker got 2 in the Warrington game, which again, 2 try assists to sort of get that.
Yeah.
Lytton picked up a point in the FC game. I thought Davy Lytton, for a lad who's been on the sidelines for as long as he's been, and I've been asking what's going on with Davy Lytton pretty much all season. I actually had him as one of the superstars to watch this year. I thought this was going to be the year where he really set the world alight. He's had to bide his time, and I thought he had a great game against Cal.
I think he needs a move, I think he needs to move out of Hull FC. Maybe there's one coming, but I think he would be better served to get out of Hull.
Maybe go to Leigh, Steph.
I'd take him.
He's got attributes, mate. He's got attributes.
I'd 100% say. I'm sure there's other clubs in Super League that would take him.
I agree 100%.
But there's obviously something not quite right with him fitting in there, and I think he would benefit from his own development to move.
Well, Mark Smith says, why not across the river? And Callum Calver says he's got him in his fantasy team. I hope he's talking a Rugby League one, but that's another story. Anyway, moving swiftly on. Let's move on to Team of the Week. Here it comes. That's it. Put your feet up. Relax. Here it is. The Super League Raw official Team of the Week for round number 17. The Super League Raw Team of the Week is proudly sponsored by the Good Estate Agent. Join the Rugby League community in trusting Stefan and his team when you are buying, letting or selling property.
It's the Super League Raw Team of the Week for round number 17 with the Good Estate Agent for 2024. Here we go again at a fullback. Not since the late great Louis Gossett Jr. have we seen a man called Zach so well prepared for battle, and by heck did Zach Eckersley deliver on yet again the biggest stage. On this form, he will be in the mix for Young Player of the Year. At 2 and on the wing, perhaps for 1 week only, is Zach Hardacre of the Leigh Leopards. With Charlie out, Lamb needed to find a solution, and Hardacre did not let him down with some great work, especially out of backfield. At 3 is another man asked to play out of position. It's Mellor time. What a brilliant season Alex Mellor is having for the Tigers. Just like rain in the British summer, you can set your clock by Mr. Mellor for the Tigers in 24. At 4, well, for some Dragons it's been a cruel summer and they will never ever get back together, but for Artur Romano it was a brace and an all-round display that was fearless and brought karma to Steve Manamara. 1 for the Swifties there. At 5, well, as the great man once said, statistics are like bikinis, they show a bit but not everything, and as sure as Pablo Anderson running down the beach in his senior took his try total to 13 for the season versus the Broncos. At 6 is George Williams of the Warrington Wolves. The Wire do look more assured with Williams in the side. If only the England football team could hold and give at the right time. At 7 is Jacob Milky Miller. There was nothing light about this display as Miller pulled the strings with shades of Clapton, Knopfler, Sambora and Slash, and with that said, he was the cream of the crop as far as the brothers in arms were concerned, running away together to the Paradise City this week. Rock and roll, baby! At 8 is the man who says, if you want this shirt, come and take it. Herman SASA is in our front row for the 3rd week in a row, and for the 6th time in 7 rounds. We love consistency here at Super League Raw, and Herman at this moment in time is different class. At 9 is the ever young Matt Parcell. This may be his last season and we're going to miss him. His pass for Mikey Lewis's try was served up on a silver platter with diamantes on the trim, but don't worry, he can do the tough stuff as well. Look at those tackle stats. At 10, well, Willie Peters painted a picture of how he wanted it to be, and Jesse sold the dream to the KR fans, kick-starting the Robins to complete a glorious treble over the black and whites this season. I wonder if he has a cat tall Moses. In second row is Kai O'Donnell of the Leigh Leopards. Yet another typical O'Donnell and Lamb combination came just at the right time to ensure that the Giants would go away empty-handed. If this is to be his last entry in our team of the week for Kai, in the words of Jarvis Cocker, thank you. At 12, with a hand in both tries for the Saints, is the class act himself, Curtis Sivernon. Let's be fair, it was as joyous watching this band play as it was watching Jamie Lee Curtis all those years ago in Trading Places. Delicious! And at 13, for the third week in a row, is the man who was one half of the recreation of the Gazza and Vinnie Jones cupping of 1988. Vash can squeeze all he wants, as the only thing that matters is that Elliot Minchella could smoke a cigarette at full time after his decisive try. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your team of the week for round number 17.
So there you go, the team of the week for round number 17. Greg looking a bit confused. We're going to have to fill in some gaps. Louis Gossett Jr. and, of course, Zach Mayo, an officer and the gentleman is where we're going there, sir. Jesse, that great song, paint a picture how it's going to be. Had a cat called Moses in that. A little bit of musical trivia there for you. But, yes, I do like the recreation of the Vinnie Jones and Gazza of 88. Team of the week, sir, what do you think?
Yes. What am I going to say? Any team of the week that has Taylor Swift in it is fine by me.
Well, Callum's not too impressed. He's not too happy. It's all right, Callum. We've already said to Joel, he looks like Freddie Mercury out of the Bohemian Rhapsody video tonight. He just needs to get his family around him, mate. Maybe that'll suit you better. Steph, team of the week. What are your thoughts?
I think it was a bit out of order quoting the Swifties when he sat on the bench injured. So, very, very good team of the week, and great to see Exley there at fullback. What a player that guy!
I think Minchella is one of those players as well that sometimes flies under the radar. He's a superb player, Minchella. He really is.
13s and ones, mate. 13s and ones. We're blessed.
Yeah, 3 in a row, mate. Elliot Minchella, team of the weeks, 3 in a row. And I don't know if you picked it up in the commentary because I know it whistles by, but Herman SASA, 3 weeks running and 6 out the last 7 team of the weeks. Herman SASA has been in it. That is just different gravy at prop forward. You wouldn't mind him in your front row, Joel?
Lots of him in front row. Has he got probably the most number 8s on team of the week? No,
pretty much, mate. Yeah, I think there's no doubt he's the best at this moment in time. As you know, we at Super League Raw do our own dream team. Herman at this moment is in the front row. He's going to take a colossal effort from others to take his spot. I'd have to say he has been simply superb in a season to forget for Hull FC. And nice to see Jacob Milky Miller there as well. He's coming for a lot of criticism. 4 assists last week. Had a great game.
Yeah, we referenced him on the podcast, didn't we, Dave? On Final Whistle, the whole FC fans will be made up to see Zach Hardacre there. What a game he had on the wing for us. So rolling back the clock there, Mr. Hardacre. So really encouraging for them next season.
This was the Super League one. They put McIntosh in. I thought McIntosh had a decent game, I have to say. I thought Matty Ashton was lucky. To be honest, to be in there. Mikey Lewis, again, the nonsense of it. He played most of the game at fullback. What's he doing at 7? We put Miller in there because he played scrum half. Even Harry Smith would be put in there over Mikey in that position. And he couldn't. That was the case of, we can't play him at fullback because Eckersley's fullback, so we'll just put him at 7 where he didn't play most of the game. It's a nonsense. Ethan Havard, George Delaney. What planet? I'm sorry, but no, ridiculous. Eliezer Kem, do you know what? I like this lad. I like him a lot. I go with Sirinen. No, Sirinen. And they've got Garcia there at 13. He had a great game. Just on Curtis Sirinen, what a player this guy is. We like a second row. We've talked a lot this season about the likes of Lachlan Fitzgibbon and the likes. It was he who broke the line with the Robertson's great. Oh, something's just gone awry there, Joel, I think. There you go. He broke the line for the Robertson break, and he kept the ball alive for the Wonga Blake try. And that's just 2. That's the work he did around the tries. His all-round game on the night as well. Yeah, he's a great player, Curtis.
And he always rises to the occasion.
Indeed.
in a game of that magnitude, he was outstanding. In a losing cause as well, you got to say he was. Yes, Sheridan was outstanding in that game.
He was indeed. Right, we come to that part of the show where, yes, in a few moments' time, we're going to be looking ahead to round number 18 of the Betfred Super League. It's on its way this weekend. Can't wait for it. I'm sure you can as well. This, of course, will become the prediction show. So as we do every single week, we're just going to have a little moment to recharge our glasses, and then we'll be right back to do the predictions for round number 18 and talk through them all. But here's a little word from our sponsor.
Target 5. Here comes Koala.
Love that crunch.
Let me add a little bit of spice.
So here we go. We're about to go through the round 18 games. But before we do, just replying to some of the people for the team of the week. Peter Mason, a big Wigan Warriors fan. We know Pete is, but even he says Havard ridiculous to be in the game. Alex Sharp saying Duffy was unlucky. Spot on. He was unlucky, no doubt about it. He was the second best fullback this weekend, but it's hard to overlook Eckersley. Like I say, 10 minutes prep, Alex. Absolutely sensational performance. Don't worry, Steph will be back. He's just gone to get himself another brew dog. Don't worry about that. He'll be on his way back in a moment. And whilst we're waiting for Steph, let's take a look at these little beauties. Round number 18. Oh, yes. The Giants will welcome the Salford Red Devils, who will, of course, be stinging from that nilling over in Perpignan. Then it's the Saints taking on the Warrington Wolves at the Totally Wicked. That should be fantastic as well. The Leopards go up against the Broncos. FC take on the Warriors. Then a really interesting encounter. The Leeds Rhinos entertaining the Hull KR. And then the final game of the round, the Castleford Tigers will be entertaining the Dragons. Before we go into each individual game, let's catch up on the prediction lead. And as you can see, Gary Schofield has overtook Joel by just a one. Oh, yes, mate. And I'm catching as well. I'm just 3 points behind you, 2 behind you, 3 behind Schofield. Good week for Greg. He's extended slightly over Steph. And actually a good week for the Fans Forum as well. The Fans Forum, a little bit more like it. 18 points last week, the Fans Forum. Well done to them. There's no change in the Fantasy League either. Mark Allen continues to lead for the non-members and Ryan Birch continues to lead for the members. That's right. The membership is available, ladies and gentlemen. Ryan is playing for a season ticket for 2024 at the Huddersfield Giants. But they, like I say, you've got to be a member to get there, become a member. Again, in the chat, all the details you need. Make sure you check that out. Right then, gentlemen, let's see where the league is as we go into round number 18. And there you can see the Warriors a 4-point lead over the Wolves and the Robins with that all-important game in hand. The Saints have slipped to 4. The Dragons, a critical win for them against the Red Devils. They now go 22 apiece with Salford as the Rhinos stay in 7th, just 4 points behind. Then it's the Leopards on 13, not giving up hope. And then really the other 4 just pretty much now playing for places around them. I think the Tigers and the Giants could swap positions. They're playing for 9th and 10th respectively. And Hull FC playing for 11th and 12th with the Broncos is what we would say with regards to that. Right, let's go. We're going to start off with the game at the John Smiths Stadium. The Giants taking on the Salford Red Devils. Since 1998, it's 32-23 in the favour of the Salford Red Devils. The last 5 games, it's 4-1, also in favour of the Salford Red Devils. The Giants come into this with 4 defeats on the spin. Salford were in great form. Absolutely great form. They were flying, absolutely flying going to Perpignan. We expected better from Salford in that game. It didn't happen, of course. They were going in with a 4-game winning streak, but of course lost to Catalan. It's 9th against 6th. Very close in terms of the attacks. That's an interesting stat. Just 3 points separating them. 3-17 in attack for Salford, 3-14 for the Giants. The defence, as you would expect, based on league position, slightly better for the Salford Red Devils. It's 13-10 if you're a Huddersfield Giants fan, 4-6 on the Red Devils. Right, I'm not sure. I think that might be Joel again. Yes, it is. Well, all right, Joel, I'll bring you back in a moment. Right, this is a repeat of round 10 where Salford, of course, won 18-16 at the John Smith Stadium. And there was 2 tries that day by Nene McDonald. Will he play? No word on McDonald or Lafayette as we start this show tonight. One thing we do know is that Joe Bullock will more than likely make his debut this weekend. The last win for Huddersfield versus Salford was at the John Smiths in round 4 of the 2022 season, a 34 points to 2 win. How much would Joel take that right now? Of course, Andre Savelio and Sam Hewitt are banned. Both picked up a 2-game ban. And Matty English, though, will return from loan with Castleford Tigers. That is good news if you are a Huddersfield Giants fan. We like a bit of Matty English here on Super League Raw. Joel, I'm going to come to you last because, of course, it's your team. I'm going to start with Steph. Salford Red Devils against Huddersfield Giants. Can the Giants continue their improvement and get a win against the Salford side who failed to score against Catalan?
Potentially. I think Huddersfield played really well against Leeds. It was like watching a different side under Luke Robinson. And obviously you're going to get that initial reaction from whenever a coach is parted ways. So whether they can continue that, I'd like to think they took a bit of confidence from it. And obviously Salford have having to go to Perpignan, they've had the travel, all that kind of thing, and also very, pretty, especially the first half, pretty disappointing performance from Salford, from being absolutely brutally honest. But more so the fact that I've got to throw my Hail Marys now in terms of the prediction league. So and also my love for Joel and Mr. Sir Greg Roach. I'm back in the Giants. I'm going 1-8. Come on, the Giants.
Oh, that's a big call, Greg. Do you share Steph's optimism over the Huddersfield Giants?
Yeah, you've got to be optimistic for the Giants. They've got a new coach. I think they've got a threadbare squad, as Joel will back me up on that one. They've lost Yates this week, which will be a body blow to them. And I think Salford 9-17 because they're going to be stinging from that. Sorry, Joel. Sorry, Greg. But usually when I predict a Giants defeat, they usually bring all the bacon. But no, I think Salford will be stinging. Yeah, I agree with what Steph says about the travel. Sometimes that can have a big effect. But I think Giants are going to really, really struggle between now and the end of the season. Injuries and whatever, losing the captain. So I'm going Salford 9-17.
Oh, okay. Joe, I'm going to come to you with regards to this one. Before you tell us about your thoughts of this game, other rumours have come out this week that maybe Nagama will be going back to Saints. I don't know how true that is, and that other departures could be imminent. Have you heard anything about that? Are any of those rumours true?
I don't know if you remember, but I did tell you privately quite a while back that was going to be happening. So
you heard it here first.
Yeah. It's quite likely, but nothing's confirmed.
Is that before the end of the season, Joel? Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say. Maybe not before the end of the season, just because he's not been playing. He's got a bit of an injury at the moment anyway, so it'd be a bit different to go before the end of the season, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But you know what? End of the day, like I said to you, I'm now at the point where I was so impressed with how we played against Leigh, and genuinely, I was not bothered about the result. I was bothered about the effort, and the effort was there far more than what I even wanted them to give. So, if players don't want to be at Huddersfield right now, that's fine. Get lost, in my opinion. Let's bring in these new lads that the club have said for a long time. We've got a very good academy, which we have, and we've got some good players coming through. Let's use them now. Let's give them some Super League time, and that might bode well for us for next season. So, yeah, with that in mind, I have changed my prediction last second, if that's all right.
Go for it.
So I'm going to go Salford 1-8.
Yeah.
And that is just because I totally forgot that Hewitt and Dre was out for 2 matches. I knew I just forgot, and I was rushing to send you the predictions today.
What were you predicting, Joel?
I did predict Giants 1-8, but that was with the proviso if Hewitt and Dre were playing, but they're not. And with Yates going, we're going to struggle to field a 13, let alone a 17 or a 21 this week. So I think we're going to put an effort in regardless of who's playing, but Salford are going to be too strong for us. They've got far more first teamers out than we have. we're going to really struggle for a first team this week.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. As brutal as a change of monarchy, you may as well start singing the national anthem now. The king is dead. Long live the king, as far as Joel's concerned. Get out of my club. It's almost like Barbara Windsor, Mark II. Anyway, let's get into the chat. Salford Red Devils, 9-17, says Craig Forth. Dawn Kirkby, Huddersfield, 9-17. Whoa, go on, Dawn. That's a big shout. Red Devils 1-8.
Very big shout.
Good evening to Robert, Super League Royal member. Good to have you, Rob. Red Devils 1-8. Alex Sharp, as a Leeds fan, I need Huddersfield. However, I think Salford 9-17. Mark Smith says Salford. Walford. I've got Barbara Windsor on my mind. Salford 1-9. Let's all do the exercises. Dawn Baker Giants 1-4. Wayne Stacey Giants 1-8, and Salford 6-14. John
Carry
Costello.
on, Dave. Carry on.
Carry on. Yeah, John Costello. John Costello saying Salford 6-14. You don't get this on any other podcast. We love rugby league. We love banter. That's why you come back every week for more. Right, let's go to the totally wicked stadium. Oh, look at the history. 58-16 in favour of Saints. Yeah, Warrington fans, you're not misreading that. Ouch. And the last 5 games in Super League have gone the way of the Saints. However, Warrington come into this in better form with 3 wins from the last 5. Of course, on the bounce as well. 3 defeats in a row from Saints. When did you last see that? Imagine if it's 4 in a row. Wow, unheard of. 4th take on 2nd. Very close in the attacking ranks. A better defence for the Saints. Saints going 8-15, the bookies, where the Saints concerned. 8-5. The Warrington Saints are on a 7-game winning streak in Super League against the Wire. That's really interesting, isn't it? But of course, last time out this season, Warrington, that convincing 31-8 win in the Challenge Cup, gives this a little bit more spice, doesn't it? Because Saints will be wanting to get revenge for that. Saints, Makinson, probably a week too early. And back from suspension, that's a big plus for them. But still no Worms left, no Metautia, no Batchelor, no Knowles, no Hull, no Wingfield, no Whitley. So massive amount of players out. For the Wire, Luke Yates expected to make his debut in place of Geordie Crowther, who picked up a knock against Leeds. But I have to say, Geordie, if you're watching, great effort, mate. Played more as a prop than in that game, and he had some brutal carries against Leeds. You've got to give the lad credit. He's not the size of a prop, but he put a big effort in against Leeds, picked up a knock. Bless him. No other changes expected in the 21-man squad at this stage for the Warrington Wolves. Right, I'll come to Greg last this time. I'm going to start with you, Joel. Joel, Warrington going to the Saints. Can the Wire stop the winning streak that Saints are on in Super League?
Easy. Yeah. I can't remember what did I predict 9-17?
You predicted, my friend, 9-17 the Wire, yes.
Yeah. I don't think you can look at history at all at the moment between the two clubs, and more so their results. With who they've got out and with your boasting of having Yates in this week, there's absolutely no doubt he's not playing. That he is playing, sorry, so he's going to be in. I don't for one second believe that Sam Burgess hasn't been talking to him for weeks, giving him game plan. So,
conspiracies.
Not spiteful at all. But yeah, I think that, especially in the forwards, you've just got far too much for Saints in this game, and as we know, that's where the game's won. So I just don't see anything unless I was going to put 18 plus, but Saints at home is always a tough shout. So 9-17.
Wow. Alex Sharp saying Warrington 1-8. Welland's crying. Vedvi crying. Super League laughing. Clear, Mr. Sharp has no love for the Saints there. Steph, your thoughts on this one?
It's funny, Alex has just put in the chat that Kendall's refereeing, so he's changed his mind.
Oh, he is as well, isn't he?
He is. Kendall's ref.
Yeah.
Kendall ref. Guess who's video ref? Just guess who's video ref. I bet you can't.
Liam Moore?
Oh, yes. Chris Kendall, referee. Liam Moore, video ref. The dream team for Saints. The dream team.
Anyway, it's more conspiracies than Trump's assassination attempt going on here, isn't there? So anyway, I'm going to throw my second Hail Mary, and I think it is a Hail Mary, but I do think that Warrington's pack is going to dominate this. And as we always say on this show, forwards win games, backs decide how many. And I think Warrington's pack are going to, especially if Yates is playing, that could be massive. With the and to put that into context, though, Saints are suffering with their injuries in the forwards. If Warrington get a couple of tries ahead, I can see it turning a bit nasty at the time of wicked. I can see the fans getting maybe on the back a little bit, and it'd be very interesting to see if they put Dodd back in. I think that would be a mistake for St Helens. If I'm being honest, I think they should remain with Robertson. Is it Robertson, the young lad,
Yeah.
and Wellesby 6. But I do think, based on the way Warrington performed in the Challenge Cup as well, that they well got a performance in them if they want it to do them 9-17.
Yeah, I mean, you talk there about, losses. I think a massive loss at the moment for Saints is Matauti. I think since Walmsley's gone out, Matauti has been colossal for him. He really, really has. And I think
Walmsley.
Well, Walmsley's Walmsley, but Matauti really has stepped up for him. He's a big loss. And like I say, Delaney for me, good in defence. Has he got the punching power? Probably have a man of the match display now. But that is a concern if I'm a Saints fan. Greg, your thoughts on this one?
It's a difficult one, isn't it? I would love to say Wire, but Saints just don't lose 4 on the bounce. It doesn't happen. They had a despite the fact that they had a lot of injuries, they put up a real good performance against Wigan last week. And I'm really loath to say this, but I think Saints will win. And you're going to laugh at me. Thanks for getting it out so early, Steph.
I know what's
down the
coming.
way now. Cheers. Get it off your chest. But I think I hope I'm wrong, and I will quite happily go down that leaderboard if I'm wrong. But I think Saints 9-17. They just don't lose 4 in a row, Saints. And Wayne Stacey's laughing at me, but there is the Kendall Moore factor, which
yeah.
serves me deeply.
They're losing this week.
I'm going to go to the chat in a moment. Forgive me. Gary Schofield went Salford 9-17. The fans form the same in the Huddersfield game. Just backtracking on that. In this one, he's gone the Wire 9-17. The fans form have gone Wire 1-8. And live in the chat, Port John, I'm going to come back to that at the end of the show. That can be the first question that we answer later. Don't put the questions in just yet, though. Wait until later, because that way I won't find them. John Costello, Wire 4-12. He's making up his own rules. He's putting his feet in 2 camps. You can't do that, John. That's cheating. Robert William Hickson, Wire 1-8. Wayne Stacey, the same. Alex Sharp, the same. Dawn, the same. Mark Smith's going Greg. Saints 1-8. They need to bounce back. Fraser Howard, Wire 9-17. Dawn Baker, Wire 1-8. Craig Forth, Saints 1-8. Steve Cartlidge, hello Steve, first one for you. I think Saints will be up for it, and he's going Saints 1-8. So yeah, very, very interesting in the chat. There's no doubt about that. Paul Webb's the same, blimey, blaming the rest before they even messed up. Well, it's just
just putting it out there just in case.
It's debate, Phil. Nothing more, nothing less. I'm going to go the Wire. I'm going to go the Wire 9-17 for the same reasons that Steph said. I think the punching power of the pack, Warrington should dominate that area of the field. And if they don't, but what I would say is we fought this a couple of years. It was like the last year, the year before, where we went to Saints and played a very understrength Saints and Warrington lost. So I'm taking nothing for granted. Don't get me wrong. And, we know that Saints can bring quality players in. There's no doubt about that. But Warrington, really, if they've got any chance at all of having a push for this grand final and beyond this season, they need to go to a depleted Saints team and win. If they can do what they did in the Cup, then they need to go and back it up this weekend. If they don't, For me, I think Sam will have to wait at least another year until he gets any silverware, because I think this is a big moment for Warrington.
Robert Higson's made a great point there in saying Saints to sack Wellings before the League game. I think we've been there, every single one that's been sacked. We've been the game after. So, just thinking that could well happen.
It bodes well. Andy Bibby saying, "Give your head to wobble. He's never going to be sacked." Right, let's go to the Leigh London game. This shouldn't take us too long. The Leopards. This is history since 2005. Of course, they've played each other in the second tier over the years. 11-2 since 2005. Leigh lead London. The last 5 have all gone the way of Leigh. As you can see there, the form, 5 losses on the spin from London. But like I say, they always give it a good go, don't they? As for the Leigh Leopards, 2 wins in the last 5. It's 8 against 12. There's a gulf in defences. The attack, over 100 points there. But look at the defence. I mean, you're getting on for nearly 400 points difference there that London have conceded. The 1-25 on are the Leigh Leopards. It's 10-1 if you are a London Broncos fan. Erin Pape out. Penne he's failed a HIA, I believe. Steph will confirm that, I'm sure, in a moment. Dwyer, doubtful. He's got a bit of a cold. Probably will play, though, if I was a betting man, if he thought all he's got is a bit of a flu or a cold. And Charnley, 50-50. Might be a week too early for Josh, but that's good news. Josh should be returning in due course for the Leigh Leopards. Right, we'll go to Steph last. Greg, will start with you this time, mate. On you go.
Leigh by 18 plus. Too strong. London have they kind of have regrouped and they put in some good performances, but I still think, despite players that are missing, I still think Leigh will be far too strong, especially at home for London. I can't see anything but an 18 plus win for Leigh. Fair
enough, Joel.
Yeah, it's 18 plus. I honestly, I think it's going to be 40 plus, to be honest with you. What I saw from Leigh the other night was just outstanding. I understand the Pape is not out, he's not playing, Charnley's probably not going to be playing, but that doesn't really matter. The gulfing difference is just leagues apart. It's going to be a big win, this.
Fair enough. Steph, was all right with the injuries? Any change on what I said?
No, you're absolutely spot on. And interesting, Penne's was after the final whistle. He had a HIA, apparently. But yes, he won't be playing, which will be a big loss for us. I've been very impressed with him since he's come in. But in this game, I think if Leigh have got any playoff credentials, they've got to put a score on London here. We're at home. We've got to build momentum. We've got Saints next. So those players need to really be up in the game now. And this is the warm up to St Helens, which is a massive, massive game for us next. Not taking anything for granted. If we don't turn up, we've seen what London can do. Alex Sharp will vouch for that at Headingley the other week. And I think more importantly for me on this one is Michael Eccles' homecoming. And I hope the Leigh fans give him the respect he's earned this season. And I'm sure, well, I know for a fact he's having a night out in Leigh because he's out with a lot of my mates on Friday night. So I hope he enjoys his return to Leigh, but maybe not so much in the result. So I've gone Leigh 18 plus.
I think Steph was giving us a bit of a clue with the tribute act. Is a bit of meatloaf. There's not going to be a dry eye in the house as Mike Eccles goes back to the LSV. Right, let's have a little look at where we're going. No surprises, everybody's gone 18 plus. I think the chat is going the same. Some are saying by 30. Who said by 30 there? Callum Calver's gone by 30. A big old win there. Andy Bibby's going London by 4. Hey, I'll have what you're having there, Andy lad. Good lad, get in there, son. What we got else there? There you go. Yeah, I think everybody's pretty much going the way of the Leigh Leopards. Right, we now hot foot across to the MKM Stadium as the Wigan Warriors come to town to Ian Judson's Hull FC and Callum Calver's Hull FC. 49-14 since 2005 in favour of the Wigan Warriors. But look at that, the last 5, 3-2, competitive, Hull FC. Wigan come into this in glorious form. It's got to be said, 5 wins on the spin. As for FC, they come in with 3 losses on the spin. 11 plays first. Attack, massive difference in class. 4-4-3 Wigan, 2-2-8. For Hull FC. Defence, 182 conceded for Wigan. That's superb defence, that is. 520 for Hull FC. It's 11-2 if you're a Hull FC fan. 1-9 on if you're a Wigan Warriors fan. Wigan come into this game on an 8-game winning streak. That's right, an 8-game winning streak. You can make that 9 if you include the Challenge Cup. They are flying at the Wigan Warriors. Hull FC have won the last 2 versus the Warriors, though, at the MKM. Yeah, I did say that. Whilst last year at the MKM, Hull FC beat the Warriors 14-10 in round 11. The return game, Wigan narrowly won 13-12 in round 22. So, bit of a bogey side maybe for Wigan, I don't know. Adam Kieran has had his ban overturned this evening, so he is good to go. Mike Cooper should return from HIA. No word on any additional problems at Hull FC unless Ian Judson can get in the chat if anybody is likely to miss this one. Joel, I'm going to kick off with you. Hull FC facing the Wigan Warriors. What are your thoughts? Where are you going?
Yeah, once again, I'm going to have to go with 18 plus. I don't see anything other than that, unfortunately. Hull have got a lot better, and they have been playing some far better rugby than they have at the beginning of the season. And probably the biggest factor to that has been SASA. But one man cannot win a game, so unfortunately, I think he's going to be a little bit overshadowed, not fully, but overshadowed by an incredibly quality Wigan side. Who aren't going to want to let up because they realise just how close Warrington are behind. And if Warrington are potentially Warrington are going to win at the weekend, Greg, then they don't want anyone hot on the heels, so they're going to be firing.
Well, if Warrington don't win, you're going to have to be on the final whistle on Sunday, mate, because there's a lot of people tuning to hear you have to say whatever you're going to say with regards to that. I mean, Greg, Wigan might rest a few here, and possibly rest a few in the forward positions. I'm thinking maybe because they can afford to do that. There was a bit of a doubt over Ensemble, a lot of chat.
Yeah.
Maybe he'd have picked up a knock, and it's got a bit quiet on that. So maybe Junior might miss out this week, but Wigan should do this, shouldn't they?
Yeah. Well, obviously, Ensemble's picked up an injury because I transferred him into my fantasy team this week. So yeah, 18 plus Wigan. They might rest a couple. I don't think they'll rest too many. I think they're too professional for that. But I think 18 plus Wigan all day long. Yeah.
And Steph, you go on the same route?
Yeah, I think it don't matter if Wigan rest players, does it? Because they just bring another absolute worldie from their academy, don't they? Yeah. So, which is sickening for the rest of us, but that's just the way it is. I'd be surprised if Matty Pete doesn't put a really strong side out, because that's just the way he does things. Yeah. Even if there is a few young lads in there, I still see him being too strong. But I've gone Wigan 18 plus. I wouldn't be surprised though if it was closer, because Hull FC have been playing quite well recently, and I think you've got to give Simon Grix a lot of credit for what he's done. If it was the beginning of the season, this would have been 50 odd. We went there and put 50 when we weren't even that decent. So the job that Simon Grix has done deserves a huge amount of raps, and that's probably one of the shining lights at Hull FC, is that they have had that reaction. And I wouldn't be surprised if they did give Wigan a bit more of a game than that. But I'm going with sanity and saying Wigan should put a score on Hull FC.
I thought Grixie was first class. I have to say, in his conference at the weekend, I thought he was very honest.
Yeah,
very, very forthright in his view.
He was very good at Halifax. He was a very good coach when he was at Halifax, and he fully deserves to be in Super League. If not as a head coach, as 100% as an assistant. And he does deserve a hell of a lot of credit because it could have gone really, really badly for Hull FC this season. And I think a lot of the reason why it hasn't is down to him. I don't know whether the FC fans agree with me on that, but from an outsider, we like to put the positive spin on things on this show. And all of the teams in the lower halves that were really, really struggling have seemed to have a bit of a bounce back, which is really encouraging to see. And the comp has been very competitive in this second third of the season.
Just to clarify what I think you're saying there, are you saying that Grix has been the difference between Hull not finishing bottom?
Yes.
Yeah, because I mean, it's fair to say it's a diabolical season for Hull FC. But I mean, yeah, I agree. I think Grixie has come in. He's injected a little bit of passion back into the shirt. And I think if they do finish 11th, because I think that's as good as they can do, Castleford have been superb these last few weeks. And again, they're seemingly getting better and better. Yeah, I think Grixie could be the difference.
What I'm saying is in the second third of the season is that all the clubs that were struggling really, really badly have seen a response. And I think everybody at those clubs in the lower half of the division deserve massive credit for rebuilding and motivating those players that they've got to be, not having rolling over and having the bellies tickled.
Mate, it's great for the comp. Exactly. At the end of the day, people are, the strength of this competition is that they carry on doing exactly that. And I think rugby league's one of those sports you can't go on a field of play and be half-hearted. And to be fair, they're not. Everybody's going Wigan 18 plus. Bar Andy Bibby. I think we've got a Saints fan here. He's going Hull FC 1-8. Andy, that's a big shout, mate. That's a massive shout. Phil Webster, Wigan by 54 plus. I think that's a bit of a shout as well. Crippers 262. He's gone Warriors by 30. Hello to Crippers 262. First time I think we've seen you in the chat. John Costello's at it again. He's gone 9-28. Well done, John. Edgy bets. But there you go. But yeah, look, bottom line is, I think everybody's, Nicola Burnwood's with us. Good evening, Nicola. We're hoping to see you tomorrow in the quiz. I hope you've been proper swatting up for the quiz tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. It wouldn't be the same without you, my friend. Outstanding stuff. Right, no real surprises on this one. Everybody's gone Wigan 18 plus. Go feel the fans for him. The lot. Right now we come to, for me, possibly, I think Warrington Saints have got a lot about it. I think this could have a lot about it. First game in charge for Brad Arthur. Hull KR go to Headingley. This is going to be a good game, I think. I really do believe that. I think it will be a good game. 24-12 in favour of the Leeds Rhinos since 2007. But look at the last 5. 3-2. 3-2. To KR. It's fair to say 4 wins and 3 wins in the last 5 with KR, of course, the most there. Third now, KR. You've got to give them the due. They're really putting a shift in 2024. Doing very well. Leeds just outside the top 6, of course, 4 points behind. They need to be taking some scalps. It could start this weekend against KR. Attack-wise, no surprise for me, one of the best free-flowing teams in Super League this season. Our Hull KR, 421 points scored. Some more long-range ones at the weekend. 309 Leeds Rhinos. Defensively, 226 conceded for Hull KR, 316 the Rhinos. And I think that's the area where Brad Arthur is going to make a big, big difference for Leeds. It is in defence. 10-11 for both sides. They cannot split them in terms of this, which I think is really good for if you're a Leeds fan, because it shows that, we always say the bookies very seldom get it wrong. If they see it that close, fair play to you. At Headingley, Leeds have won 3 of the last 5, so it swings around. It's 3 in the last 5 at Headingley for Leeds. The last meeting, of course, was round 2 at Craven Park, a win for the Robins, 22 points to 12 for Leeds. No McCormack or Goodimon. James Donaldson and Harry Newman should return, and for Hull KR, Sam Luckley should return as Steph cracks open another one. Right, okie dokie, let's get into it. We'll start with you, Steph, as you take your first slurp. Leeds against Hull KR.
Yeah, I think this could be the game of the week for me, this one. I think with Leeds being at home, we'll see. But I think it's not a must win for Leeds. They are still, quite close to those playoff spots. And if they're being brutally honest, they'd probably say this is one that they'd earmarked to lose. But we'll see what happens. They've got the performance in them, as they've shown against us at Headingley. Let's see what happens. But if Hull KR are on the form, then they're going to win. It's as simple as that. They've got the better team. They've got the better squad. But I wouldn't be surprised if Leeds put a performance in here. That said, I have gone Hull KR 9-17. But like I say, I wouldn't be surprised if it was a bit closer than that.
Fair enough. Mr. Nixon, over to you.
Unmute myself.
No, you are on. You are on, sir.
Yes. I wasn't. I am now. I think this is going to be quite possibly the game of the week, as Steph said. And I think this is 1-8 KR. And don't be surprised if it's a 1-pointer or even a golden point.
Wow. You heard it here first.
This is going to be close.
Whoa, hey, that's going to be entertaining. Joel, your thoughts, Leeds against the Robins?
Yeah, it's going to be a much closer affair. And I think having the new coaching is going to help. I still think Leeds are going to struggle to win. But that's just based off Greg. Come on.
Greg Roach has just said,
I've seen it.
Now, Joel, have you got a narrow camera angle? That is comedy gold. Good evening, Mr. Roach. Carry on, Joel. Your fan club is watching.
Well, I'm not going to respond to him. I'll deal with him later.
Looking out for you, Greg.
So,
Carry on, Joel. Carry on.
He knows just to get me off my phone, doesn't he? Get me out my mojo.
Well, I don't know.
Anyway, Leeds are going to play better. That's for certain. But I think that KR are still going to win it, and that's just purely off the form, how they've been playing. You look how Elliot Minchella played. It's just a tough one to crack his KR, even when they come together.
Minchella Cam Smith is a great battle in this one.
Oh yeah, it's 213s going at it. And remember, Cam Smith was by far the best 13 last year, in my opinion. So, I'm sorry, Steph. He was. But
he was.
Yeah,
he was.
Oh, I think Steph. I mean, Steph's camera. I think Asiatis picked him. But anyway,
well, it's just like Steph thought. Who was it scored at weekend? But clearly he didn't. Yeah.
Right.
So,
sensibility back to the podcasters.
Going to change the Huddersfield prediction.
Right. So, which way are you going, Joel? Just for clarity.
I did go KR. I can't remember if I went 1-8 or 9-17. It wasn't 18 plus.
You went 1-8, mate. You went 1-8.
Yeah, 1-8. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Gary Schofield's gone KR 9-17. The fans forum have gone KR 9-17. In the chat, Andy Bibby sees it leads by 4. The Mighty Robins 1-8 says Mark Smith. Pretty much everybody else is going the way of KR. It would appear not much love for the Leeds Rhinos, but this one's for you, Alex Shaw. What a game this is going to be at Headingley. It's one not to be missed, Alex. It's not to be missed. Two great loose forwards, as we've always said. Cam Smith going up against the mighty Elliot Minchella. Andy Ackers needs to perform. He needs to perform. He's not performed well all year. He's coming up against Jez Layton and Matty Parcell. Oh, it should be big. Mikola Jaleski will make the meters, but will he hold on to the ball? Will he need to tune in to find out? This is going to be simply superb, sir. Superb.
Lewis Croft. How good's that going to be?
So I've hyped it up. There you go. Hyped up just for you, Alex. It's all been hyped up. One not to be missed at Headingley. And I'm going KR 9-2. to 17. That's the way I see it as well. Right, let's get to the final game. Right, get your questions in the chat. We'll answer a couple of questions that you might have that you want us to debate for the last 5 or 10 minutes of the show, like we've started to do for you. So get your comments in the chat now, and we'll pick a few of those out as we now go to, again, what will be, I think, an interesting little game. The Catalan Dragons go to Castleford Tigers 22-17 in favour of Catalan since 2007. The last 5 3-2. Both of these two teams come into this in decent form. Castleford 2 wins on the spin. One of them, of course, against the Saints, and 3 on the spin for the Catalan Dragons. 10th takes on 5th. 323 points the Dragons have scored. They've not been as potent as they have been in other seasons, it has to be said. 280 for the Castleford Tigers, but defensively, as you would expect, again, when you look at the league positions, Catalan have a better defence. 234 conceded this year to Castleford's 455. The Dragons are 49 on. Tigers 19-10. Of course, they last met the last 5 at the Jungle. It's 3-2 to Castleford. There's an interesting one for you. Of course, they met in round 5, where the Dragons won 40 points to 14 at the Stade Gilbert Brutesse. Right, okie dokie. Can Castleford do it again? They're on they're in great form. They're doing what they need to go and do. This will be an incredible result if they could pull this one off as well. Joel, we'll start with you. What's your thoughts?
This is the one I've really struggled with this. Because Cass, you look at the numbers that you've shown on screen, and if we go week on week, you'll find that them attacking numbers will go up quite a bit for Cass, because they've been putting a much better showing, haven't they, this part of the season. I think Catalan have probably got enough in them to get a win over Cass, but I don't see it big. I'm going to go for 1-8.
To
the Dragons.
To the Dragons. Okay,
but Cass are going to put in a real good effort. It's going to be close.
You've seen it tight. Steph, where you seen it?
I'm throwing my third Hail Mary. I'm going Castleford. I think I've just got a funny feeling the way Castle are playing at the moment. Those young lads that they brought in have been doing exceptional for them. And let's face it, I need to go against you guys and start picking up some points on this prediction league. But I would go as far as say is if Hull KR and Leeds isn't the game of the week, I think this potentially could be, based on it being the fortress that is Weldon Road. I don't know if it's got a different name now there, but
the jungle.
Well, yeah, it's Weldon Road. I've just got a funny feeling that this is going to be an absolute belter. I don't know why, but I really do. I've gone Castleford 1-8.
Fair play. Greg, your thoughts?
Golden Point.
Which way?
Castleford 1-8.
Ooh, big shout.
Like Steph says,
That's massive.
Big
So you
shout.
just cancelled out me trying to catch you there.
Yeah.
No, I'd already said this afternoon. And Dave will prove that.
Yeah, it's all in. Yeah, you're right. Nobody's changed. Yeah, it's exactly as it was.
Can we?
Coming from 34, 36 degree heat to November.
Yeah. Oh,
It
yeah.
is cold. It's going to be cold. It's going to be wet. And that is going to be a huge advantage to Castleford. And I think it will be close because Catalan are a good side. They've got some good players. I think the elements are in Castleford's favour. Castleford, Catalan, too close to call. 1-8. And don't be surprised if this again is a drop goal or a golden point. And I'm going Cass 1-8.
Just a thingy, Reggie. It's going to be 25 degrees and sunny in Castleford on Friday.
Catalan plus 18.
Right. Gary Schofield.
Playing on Sunday though, aren't they?
Gary Schofield's gone 9-17 to the Catalan.
It's still 20 degrees and sunny.
Yeah,
it never gets 20 degrees and sunny in Castleford.
There you go. Right. Gary Schofield, Catalan 9-17. Fans form have gone Cass 1-8. They've gone the same way. I'm going Catalan 9-17. I think that was a big result for McNamara's men last week. I really do think that. I think perhaps the departure of the 3 players has galvanised them a little bit. I think the pack is too strong. The fact that English has gone back to Huddersfield, that will impact them as well for this one, Castleford. So I'm going to go Catalan 9-17. In the chat, Phil Webster's going Cas 1-8, Dragons 8-17, Andy Bibby, John Costello saying Tigers by 2, Nicola Burtonwood, Dragons 1-8. Hard to play at Cas, says Dawn. Yeah, I agree. Kevin Worrell. Castleford 1-8. Andrew Robertson. Hello, Andy. Didn't see you sneak in, mate. Tigers 1-8. Yeah, all very, very interesting stuff indeed. Right, there you go. That is the predictions. We'll see how we get on with those next week. Great to have Joel back this weekend. I mean, let's go back in a time machine. Joel, many moons ago now, it seems like yesterday, answered the SOS when Greg wasn't around, and Joel saved me and came on off Facebook at a campsite. And it's great to have my old mucker back. Wonderful to see Joel in great form again. And in the same way that Joel answered an SOS around presenting, I'm going to give you an SOS. We need your support. Guys, we do need your support. Please look at the membership. But more importantly, come to the quiz tomorrow night. Yes, it's a £5 if you're a non-member. But you know what? The bottom line is this. You're supporting what we're doing. You're going to have a night of entertainment, and you could walk away with 2 Saturday tickets for Magic Weekend. Guys, why wouldn't you do that? If you've got nothing planned tomorrow night, it's all online, it's all interactive, it's a multiple choice quiz. All the details you need are on Eventbrite. Come and join the members. That's right. Don't be fooled by what you see on Eventbrite. All the members have got their invite. I'm sure they're going to join us. And just a quick caveat to the members who are thinking, yeah, but I've already got my tickets for Magic. If you win the quiz, I'll replace them with grand final tickets. There you go. Don't you worry about that. Hey, Super League Raw, looking after you as always. So members, I expect a good turnout for this quiz. It's lots to be played for. Suddenly Ryan Birch is coming. He likes to be in for a good prize as our Ryan. Right, okay, let's get into the chat. Right, in terms of the questions, I'm going to start with John's. John said about Wellens. If Warrington were to do a number on Saints on Friday, would Wellens be under pressure? I think the Saints' job is always under pressure. They're changing the mind like the weather. If you watch Red V TV, 1 minute they're putting contracts back in drawers, the next minute they'll give him another year. It's a poison chalice, you know, really is in that respect. I do think it's a transitional time for Saints personally, and I think they need to see it as such. You look at the age profile of the squad. I think there's a bit of surgery that's needed, both in terms of recruitment, but also these younger kids that are coming through need time. I'm sorry, Saints, you've basked in the glory of some great times over the last 5 or 6 years. Do you know what? It's time to suck it up, is what I would say. I don't think Wellens is necessarily the problem. I think it's just a case of you're in a transition. So that's my take on that. Greg, what's yours, mate?
Well, you kind of realise that Saints have been there or thereabouts all season. They've not had Walmsley for most of the season. Walmsley is a massive miss for Saints. They've been there or thereabouts. They've just dropped down to 3rd this week after the defeat to Wigan.
4th.
Sorry?
4th, mate.
Are they gone to yeah, because they've gone below Hull KR as well, haven't they? So they're in the mix for the playoffs. And I think you're right, they've been spoiled. And I think that, as you say, the Saints' job is always a pressure job. If Warrington win, I don't think they'll get rid of Wellens. I think they'll bide the time. They'll keep the powder dry. And there's, you can still see a Wigan Saints grand final at the end of the season. So, yes, he's under pressure. Will he go if Warrington beat them? No, I don't think so. And I think they'd be foolish to do that as well. Yeah, I really do.
Steph?
I think he made a really brave decision dropping Dodd, and that to me shows a lot of character. As for no injury, and come out and said, he's dropped on his form, which I think is quite impressive as a coach. I think these next two games.
What is it, Steph? Because all the Saints fans have been asking for Dodd to be dropped. So in effect, he's done what he's been asked to do by the fans. I mean, I'm sure that did not play any part in his decision. He made the decision for himself. But it's a pretty easy decision to make when the fans are calling for Lewis Dodd's head.
I don't think it is when you're playing Wigan with injuries and you rest a fit player. No, I don't agree with that. I think he could have quite easily. Are we in 2024?
I think so. Joe, I think Joe's missus has said, right, you've had your chips and it's just his laptop over. Go on,
I think she wants to go clubbing.
Yeah. Anyway. No. I regardless of the pressure from the fans, I think when you go into a team, the derby, and you drop your scrum half who's an NRL scrum half, I think that was a brave decision for him to do. And I think you've got to give him a bit of credit there. What I will say with Wellens is they've got Warrington this week, they've got us, they've got Leigh next week, and if they lose both of them, then the jungle drums will be beaten, I think, by the fans, and we all know how much of a factor that does have on St Helens as a club. So we'll see what happens, but he could be in trouble if they lose those two.
Fair enough. Right, let's get to Greg Roach's question. Good question, this. I know who mine is. Who do you think is the best Super League referee so far this year? Mr. Nixon?
Aaron Moore.
I would second that.
Yep, 100% Aaron Moore.
Yeah, he's been outstanding, hasn't he? I mean,
I always like Ben Thaler. I always think Thaler refs the game well, but I think Aaron Moore's been outstanding this year.
Fair enough. Right, Craig Forth, another member, Craig. Would you rather have a 3-match test series between Yorkshire and Lancashire or England or Great Britain versus the Exiles? That's a great question, that, Craig. It's a great question. We had a big discussion about Exiles, if you remember, a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, we did.
International, and I said I thought it was a concept that had life in it, and I think the fact we lost possibly was the reason why it never came back again. And we actually, go back, I think it was about 2 weeks ago, whenever the French international was the week after, I put on the screen a potential exile squad to go up against England. And we actually said on that occasion, Craig, that, if that mid-season internationals is to make England or Great Britain more competitive against Australia and New Zealand, you have to go exiles. You have to. It's a no-brainer in that respect. That said, Yorkshire, Lancashire, for me, it would take probably 5 years for it to really catch on. So again, it's about persistence but I think there's life in Yorkshire, Lancashire. I think there's also life in the Exiles. You could only do one. You can't do two because it'd be too many games. And if you were going to push me as a spectacle, I think the Exiles, Great Britain or England would be a fantastic series. Greg?
Yeah, given those choices there, the Exiles game is the one.
Yeah.
As I've said earlier today, in the when we first got going earlier on, with Great Britain being back, I'd like to see a home nations tournament to decide who's going to make up the Great Britain squad. And Yorkshire, Lancashire. What about Cumbria? Let's throw Cumbria into the mix.
We're
not talking about that.
Yeah.
I think Great Britain versus the Exiles is, in answer to this question, is the one I'd go for.
Steph?
I think if we're going to go, I think the Great Britain thing's a brilliant thing. If we go down that route again, I think that's fantastic. I think we need to bring Yorkshire, Lancashire, Origin game, stick with it. I think the problem with the Exiles is that there's not anything off the back of it. So what you'll tend to get is, and I think we saw that in the last Exiles game, is players pulling out and going for the club because it's not really a representative thing afterwards. We need Origin. If you look at the NRL, the biggest money earning event is Origin, and that pays for a lot of the other stuff along with the broadcasting. And I think Lancashire, Yorkshire, I mean, you could argue Cumbria, but you could argue Melbourne in the NRL for me with that one as well. So I would love to see a competitive Yorkshire and Lancashire, but they've got to do it properly, and it's got to be staged properly. It's got to be the fireworks. It's got to be the singers beforehand. You've got to make it a massive, massive event. But if you look at the players we've got, I think I was watching another podcast about it. But imagine Truman and Mikey Lewis linking up against Dodd and Harry Smith, for example, in that respect. And the only way we'll see how good we've got in this country is by playing these players that play for different clubs, but then linking up together before they get to Great Britain and creating a massive, massive event, but hosting the M62 corridor. Let's celebrate what we've got. Don't go, oh yeah, we could have Cumbria, we could have London, you could have whatever. Let's go to where our actual thing is, like they do in Australia, and not reinvent the wheel. They do it over there and made it an absolute spectacle.
They don't get Victoria involved, do they?
No, exactly.
I still think that Cumbria would have a very, very good team.
Well,
Of course they would. Yeah, of course they would. But it's not big enough, Reggie. That's what I'm trying to. The majority of players come from Lancashire and Yorkshire. That's just fact. And if we want to have, a spectacle where you can actually get excited about your heritage, where we all love that we're Lancashire, Graham, Manchester, Merseyside, and then Yorkshire. We're all very proud of that kind of thing. So if you want to sell it Headingley, then put on Lancashire v Yorkshire. It'll sell out if it's promoted correctly.
Well, that's the key word, isn't it? Promotion. And we've seen what a debacle they've done of that of late. Joel, you're back. Good to have you back, mate. Very quickly, mate. What would you prefer, Yorkshire, Lancashire, or England, Great Britain versus the Exiles in a 3-game series in mid-season?
For me, it'd be the same as what an Origin was. Yorkshire, Lancashire. It has to be. I think if we're branded as the M62 corridor game, then let's make it the M62 corridor game and let's make it big. The marketing would be huge.
Which, just on that point, right, because this Yorkshire, Lancashire bit, I think, and I'm just going to be quite argumentative for a moment, that doesn't really float my boat, if I'm being honest. What I think the marketing bit is a little bit around, are you east or west of the Pennines? And what I'd do is I'd put a great big flag on top of the Pennines, and you're playing to have your flag up for a year.
Well, what about this?
This is our mountain. That's promotion. You heard it here first. And actually at the end of the game, you actually see the flag being hoisted on the Pennines. And every time you drive past that farmhouse on the way over the Pennines, there's a flag that's either Yorkshire or Lancashire. Now we're talking promotion. That's what it's about. And those people who don't watch Rugby League, who drive past that flag, what's that flag all about? Well,
Dave, let Joel speak.
Well,
it's good stuff, Greg. It's good stuff.
I'm with you. There was something I was going to say on the back of that was, personally, if it was up to me, I'd have the War of the Roses. So do exactly what you've just said and have a red or a white rose. And then obviously in the Origin Cup, you've got the two colours. You've got the maroon and the blue. Let's have the red and the white.
Spot on, mate.
100%.
Flag on the Pennines. You've heard it.
I'm getting passionate about it now.
Right.
So,
flag on the Pennines. You heard it here first. There's promotion.
And do you know what? To be fair, it would even be good to have it at the Huddersfield ground, just because of the amount of people it can hold.
Well, it'd be good to fill it, wouldn't it? Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on very, very quickly. Oh, that was a bit biting. Sorry, Joel. Sorry,
Joel. Right. You're right.
Kev Wowell's come in. Question: are Castleford really in trouble from IMG for their place? I think they are. I think they're in a lot of trouble, and I think the fact that they're talking about it but not talking about it in press conferences. That if I was a Castleford Tigers fan, I'd be very concerned as we sit here now. Your best chat for me, again, it could be wrong when I say this, your best chance of Super League 2025 is a departure from IMG. That's where I'm at with it. I think there's a real appetite here. Wakey are back. There's no doubt about that. And I think there's a massive appetite for Toulouse. And as much as I think that is unfair, because I think Castleford is a proper rugby league mainstay in our competition, you've only got yourselves to blame. How many years has this ground been coming? And I say that, and I'm not saying that to be argumentative. I feel sorry for you, the supporters. You deserve better. You deserve a better ground. You know, you're going numbers every single week. And quite frankly, the club have dragged the feet for too many years. And I'm afraid it's about to come home to roost. Greg?
Yeah, it's a traditional rugby league ground, and that's what's going against them at this moment in time. You know, as you say, they've had a long time to either, you know, they've had the chance to kind of do a stadium share, and I understand why they don't want to do that with like Wakefield or Featherstone, and I can understand that. But they've had a long time to put into place a plan to renovate the stadium. Wakefield have done it, and I hope not, but I think the IMG plans may well go against them if they're not very, very careful.
Very briefly, Joel, your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, the ground, even though I love going to it, it's a great atmosphere. The problem is, well, two problems. The stadium's too old and the pitch is too small. And unfortunately, that just goes against you big time.
Steph, any love for Cass? Or do you think this is bon voyage?
Great thing with the French reference there.
Well, it was planned.
Really?
I think the thing from Cass is they've got the pedigree of being in Super League for so long. They've got the superb fan base, and yes, it is it's a traditional rugby league ground, and that's what's really letting them down at the moment. And the problem is with Castleford is there's only so many times you can roll out CGI images of a new ground.
Yeah. And
before people start going, you say that every time. And I think, you've got not going political, but you've got to look at in terms of the whole Pontefract area. Do they want a team in Super League? Do they want two teams in Super League even with Wake, because they're under the same council, a bit like Leigh and Wigan? It needs investment. The fan base that they've got deserves a Super League side. And when you look at, I mean, to the most disappointing things is the London attendance. I know they moved grounds, 2,000 people watching Super League. It's catastrophic, and even if you went over to Toulouse, they're averaging only 4,000. I think it was last year. Salford this year, again, attendances are absolutely atrocious. So this is where we've got to. If you want to be a Super League club, for me, you've got to get the fan base in, because that's the only thing that makes you sustainable. You've got to get the season tickets up. You've got to have those people supporting you. A Cass at risk, 100%. People were saying are Leigh at risk. Well, no, Leigh aren't at risk, I don't think, because they'll get over 15 points this year because they've gone well above 7,500 average attendance. Promoting the game, the finances are all sorted and stuff like that. So that's the key elements. But it'd be an absolute shame if Castleford did get replaced for a team that were getting 3,000 less fans a week.
Mate, the supporters don't deserve it, and they don't. They really don't. And yet, you're right to cite the attendances.
And this might sound a petty point, Dave, but from covering the women's rugby league, the Warrington women's rugby league, you go to Castleford and you sit in the press box, and you can only see half a pitch. If this is a mediated sport now, if the media cannot see the full pitch from where they're sitting and where they're going to do the match reports or whatever, then it's poor. So yeah, and that might seem a petty point, but when we're in an era now where the media dictates which sports are successful, it's a massive thing to think about.
And to all those Castleford fans who are listening to this as a podcast or who are watching me tonight, let me tell you, I've got a soft spot for Castleford.
Me too.
I remember the Wilderspool days, the great, Lee Crooks, Graham Stedman, Nick Howe, when he was about, they have some great players. I've always loved it's like Holland, isn't it? Holland, the orange shirt. There's no other shirt in rugby league than Castleford. The colours, everything about it. It's a wonderful, wonderful team supported by so loyal supporters. But we've all hit the nail on the head. You can only do CGI so many times at stadiums. They've let you down. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's always the fans that suffer. I really feel, and I tell you, I really feel for Craig Lingard. He deserves better. The job he's done this year, very much in the Mark Applegarth last year. Unlike Applegarth, Lingard's done better. However, I think his fate could be the same. Not the same in the fact that he'll get sacked. I think he's going to remain in his head position, but unfortunately, that's it. Right, we're running out of time. I'm going to finish the show with Alex Sharp's question. More questions next week. Alex has asked, who finishes 7th? This is a one-word answer. Who is going to miss out on the playoffs? Leeds, Leigh, Salford, Catalan, or another? So I think Catalan are in. So I'm going to take them out. So what we're going to say is, who is going to finish 6th? Because I think that's the question that's being asked. Is it Leeds, is it Leigh, or is it Salford? If you had to pick one of those right now, who gets in the 6th? I'm going to presume that Catalan are safe. Because remember, if you listen to Final Whistle, Catalan have got a run of fixtures now. The next 4, on paper, not one, of course, but the next 4 are they're all lower 4 or 5 places in the league. Catalan should be winning them. And if they don't, they've only got the same selves to blame. So I'm going to put Catalan in the 6th. Leeds, Leigh, or Salford. Joel. Oh, hang on, Joel. I'll bring you back. Go on, mate.
Straight off the bat, I think Salford, I would imagine. Just with the kind of uncertainty of whether Rowley's going to stay or not. I know the Leeds job has been taken up, but there's still an uncertainty. See left there as if he's going to stay. So I'm going to say Salford.
Okay. Greg?
Salford.
Steph?
I'm going to answer Alex's question and say Leeds will finish 7th.
I'm going to finish 7th. So Salford or Leigh, who's finishing in the 6th?
We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. Well, Alex, I think Leeds are going to do it, mate. I think Leeds are going to sneak into the 6th. I don't know how well you'll do, but I just think that Leeds under Arthur, I think he'll like what we've seen with Castleford, what Lingard's done in terms of strengthening the defence. I think that's where he's going to start. He's going to start by making you really difficult to beat and then move it on from there. We know you've got quality in the likes. I mean, Ackers is better than what he's showing. O'Connor's a good player. We know Croft on his day's class. We're going to see more from Miller. Newman back in the centres. Ash Hanley on the wing. You've got so much talent. You need somebody to lead him. I think Brad Arthur will do that. I think he'll get you in the 6th. How well he'll do, though, I don't really know. Gentlemen, it has been an absolute cracking evening. Nothing like a Tuesday night, chatting rugby league with your mates, getting involved in the community. Come and join us for the quiz tomorrow. Please come and join us for the quiz tomorrow. The first thing you need to do right now, click the link, go and get your ticket. All interactive, all online. You don't have to leave your house. Multiple choice. You've got a chance of winning 2 tickets to Magic. Come and join us tomorrow. Keep the party going, ladies and gentlemen. It's been wonderful. We're back next week, next Tuesday, 8 p.m. for more Super League Raw Weekly. Joel, brilliant to have you back. Good to see you, buddy. Enjoy the rest of your holiday. Mr. Nixon, sir, as always, I salute you. And Steph Sale, thanks as always for your time and your coming. We're going to go out with the top performers up to round number 17. We'll be back next week for Super League Raw Weekly because, gentlemen,
can't be a better weekly.
You can. All the best, everyone. Bye for now.
Here are your top performers after 17 rounds of the Betfred Super League. Still leading the try-scoring charts is Liam Marshall of the Wigan Warriors with 17. While still also leading the try-assist is Mark Sneed of the Salford Red Devils with 18. The most metres made in Super League continues to be Matt Duffy with 3,208. The top tackle buster is Lockie Miller of Leeds Rhinos with 130. Whilst the most clean breaks have also come from Liam Marshall of the Wigan Warriors with 21. The most offloads now have been made by Herman SASA of Hull FC with 37. Whilst we have a new hard meter making champion, Mikola Jalecki of the Leeds Rhinos has got 1,806. The most tackles continue to be by his captain Cameron Smith with 671. And Mark Sneed continues to be the top goal kicker in Super League with 55 for the Salford Red Devils. These are your top performers after 17 rounds of the Betfred Super League.